The Digg Podcast is back and we're picking up where we left off with the GoFor It roundtable discussion, all about how GoFor It can help you get started on your entrepreneurial journey. Now we're diving straight in. Kaelin, the advisor, is going to give us all the advice that we need to know, all the ways that we can contact them, how they can help us, and then we're going to hear exactly from the entrepreneurs themselves on how they have utilised the help that has been given by GoFor It ANI. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's really good.
So, Kaelin, talk to us about, like, first of all, what is GoFor It? Just break it down. So I always love in the Digg podcast. Yeah. And for anybody that's listening on whatever platform, there's people always wondering, but what is it? Like, what exactly is it? So tell us in like layman terms, and then tell us how it can help someone with just that seed of an idea.
GoFor It is really a program that you should feel really comfortable with and have a connection with somebody who you can speak to about your worries, your concerns. And for me, as an advisor, my role is to be there at the right time and give the right support at the right time. You know, everybody here is so diverse businesses, but everybody needs support in some shape or fashion at different stages. Doesn't regardless of your age, gender, or location. Like, you'll need it at some point. And it's all about, reaching out to your local council. They'll put you in contact with a business advisor. So GoFor It. What we do is we look at a business plan. John talked about like having a strategy really and the importance of that. We delve really into the business plan. And everybody here has mentioned today about money and finance, and I'm a big believer in looking at the finance and looking at the figures. When you mentioned that you can have the best idea ever, but if the figures don't stack up, that's just what needs to be rechecked. Or and on GoFor It, my role is to say, right, your vision is there, and I'm kind of like sitting there going, right, this is the figures. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm just saying, how do you do this now to get your cash flow? Maybe that idea that you have should come a wee bit at a later phase, and that you need to build a bit of reserves to get there. So GoFor It in essence is looking at a business plan. One-to-one, you have up to 6 hours mentoring support with a business advisor, and you do a cash flow. It's an evolving document. It doesn't be relied on, as Ryan's mentioned. It's really down to the person and how far they want to drive it forward.
And there's people listening, and it's just it's a line, it's a word of something they want to do. Is that too early to reach out to GoFor It?
No, and Ryan mentioned this earlier too, you have to walk before you do the talk. And like for me, I started a business as well, and I always find I put me in my shoes and go, what did I do? Or why didn't I, reach out for support sooner? Or why didn't I do this? And ultimately, it's, I felt I wasn't good enough, and that I felt that my idea wasn't good enough. I didn't feel like, I felt I was wasting somebody's time going to chat to them, because I thought, you know what, no, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, and I have a lot of clients that are in different spectrums. Some come with the full business plan done at their draft level, and they say, I've did this, I've did that, I've reached out to these suppliers, I've been in contact with them, blah, blah, blah. And on the other hand, you have people who have just been working flat out, have ran out their lunch break, have had a quick conversation, quick coffee, saying, listen, I'm thinking about doing this. I have no idea. Can you kind of just guide me on what's my next steps, or where do I need to go? And, so it doesn't matter whether you have the idea fully thought out, or whether you have just last night lay in bed and thought, this might be a good thing, and this might be a goer, and you know what, I need to chat to somebody because I didn't know what this fully involves. So yeah, it's completely, it doesn't matter.
I think that's going to make people reach out now, because people are afraid of, it's not developed enough, or it sounds silly, or it sounds stupid. But you're going to give them, listening to that, Kaelin, the confidence, I think, to reach out, because loads of people are in perhaps corporate world, and they're in a job they don't love, and they have that idea that festers away, but they never do anything because they don't know how. So I think it's great that GoFor It's there. And what's your business? Did you start?
Our sales, so it's in the motor game, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So we should have joined you in there and all of that discussion about your entrepreneurial journey. So the challenge. That's why the GoFor It business mentors as well have so much experience, because some of them will have mentored businesses. Yeah. They're business people themselves, and obviously some of them are entrepreneurial as well. So they know the challenges and can help you. And I never had a business plan, and I'm many years now, and that's terrible, isn't it? And that's why I chased my tail for years. I didn't know what it was. Didn't know. I wish I had a
business plan. Seems so far reach.
Does that? People get scared of that.
And then be like, business plan, God, that's really formal. it's not like it's so simple just to break things down. It's led by yourself as an entrepreneur, but you know, the principles and the concepts are much the same. A startup, it is a journey. You know, what you do in year one, what you do in year two, you know, you're looking at your competitors. I get some people that come in and say, I don't have any competitors. And you know, you look back and you go, well, they might not be a direct competitor, but they could be taking your, you know, like Brian, you probably have what you do, nobody else is doing exactly. But, you know, where was those parents taking those children, or where was them children going before? So they're competitors, you know, and that's the way you've got to look at it. You've got to be open-minded to kind of network that. And it's really interesting this morning, just speaking, like hearing everybody's story. I hear this every day. You know, this has just happened today, but every entrepreneur is thinking what's being said today. You know, I hear this time and time again. So if anybody's listening, you know, this isn't just like a one-off. Every entrepreneur thinks like this at some point. You know, all those challenges about, you know, imposter syndrome, money, advice and all that is really, really important. And you were right about the kind of point I think you mentioned around this, so that you get a lot of advice, and then you mentioned you get a lot of people saying a lot of stuff, but like, just take what's good out of that, you know, and don't expect to know everything. You know, you will not know everything about a business. A lot of people come to me and say, I haven't a clue about accountancy, like accounts, books, all that kind of stuff. That for years of my life, I haven't a clue. I can market with the cows from home. I can put this on social media and tell everybody, but I can't. That's fine. You know, there's somebody there, and like we can signpost you and help you along that and give you more understanding about what that entails. And people walking be like, it's not really that complicated then. You know, it's just, you just need to speak to somebody. So
I know.
Yeah.
And you guys are and there's a killing in every council area, isn't there? So there's people, GoFor It is in throughout all the council areas, and the big burning question is always how much it's going to cost, but we have covered that it's free, which is brilliant.
Free.
Great support for entrepreneurs. And I hope there's definitely more to come. And actually, just whenever you were saying all that and taking people's advice and taking the good stuff out of it, sometimes they're right. So this one time I wanted to be a Christmas decorator, right? Of course, like all these mad ideas, but I wanted to go around and decorate all the retail spaces because I did it for my own shop anyway. And I was like, I could do this in every town in Ireland, and this could be a thing. And meanwhile, I'm pregnant out to here, and one baby at home, one coming, and I went home and said to Jared, and he was like, well, I'm leaving you if you do this. and he was like, you can't do that, Caroline, like, you know, you've got a family now. And he was right. So sometimes there's times when your entrepreneurial mind runs away and you do need the advice. And at that time I took it all on board, and I was not a Christmas decorator for the whole country. It's just my own retail space. But I suppose there's times when it's right, and it's times when you just take the good or the right advice and leave the rest behind.
Caroline, sorry, just one thing very quickly, if you don't mind. So to me, GoFor It is call to action, right? Well, it's a call to action that sometimes when you say go for it, it's that kickstart, it's that go in that direction. But it doesn't have to be that I'm young, I'm fearless, I'm going to jump off a cliff. Because what GoFor It do is then they go, well, how high is the cliff? How deep is the water? You know, have you done this before? Or is this new? And so you don't have to be, you know, doing something that's completely kind of blind and involves that fearlessness, because that support is there, that you can still do it in a safe way that protects you from some of the things that you're afraid of. Yeah. So therefore you dispel the fear. And that's what that is. It gives you the vehicle to dispel it.
He's like the perfect advertisement for GoFor It.
Just like getting all students here.
Apart from the tire.
Perfect. The mission statement, there's definitely words in there can be used, but
it's pretty important, just sorry, touching that, like, in protecting yourself, you know, and sometimes you need somebody that everybody goes through different things, emotions in life and different stages of life, and whether that be, and you'll just have this mad idea sometimes, and it's how high you see it. And sometimes you need somebody just to say, right, go for it. But just right now, at this moment in time, this is the first step that you should do. And yes, you might get there, and it might not be in 6 months' time, it might be in 2 years' time, but it's just needing that wee bit of reassurance that, yes, you're on the right step, but right now, this is what's probably best for you.
And that's why you guys are so good at your job, and thankfully are available for everybody throughout Northern Ireland and all the different council areas. I'm going to speak to you again later, Caleb. So we've heard from all the fantastic entrepreneurs around the table today, and also from Kaelin about the GoFor It program and general talk about business plan and, you know, general support that's available through the program. But I want to know, and I'm sure everybody listening, if they are going to go to the GoFor It program, what exact help they give the guys around the table here. So Melanie, starting with you, what actual help did you get from GoFor It? Because different people would have taken different things.
You know, a mentor is not somebody who's just going to come and go into your business with a magic wand, do all this sort of thing. You're actually doing the work. They're just like a guide where you bounce ideas off. They're not somebody that you're just going to sit back and go, oh, sure, let them get that, like, get on with that work. Sure, I'll be having a coffee in the next room, tell me when it's done. You're the person who does the work, and you're supposed to be having the input, and they're just there to steer you.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, that yes, you might have your 6 hours support, isn't it 6 hours, Kaylin, and with GoFor It, but then it's the people that they signpost you on to as well that then continue to support you. So you're the initial signposting place. So that's fantastic that you're able to help Melanie in that way. And Maya, what about you? What actual help did you get from GoFor It?
Mine was similar. You know, it was just building the business plan. So whenever I came to my mentor, I just said, look, this is my idea, this is what I have. I didn't have a clue about costs and figures and stuff like that there. I didn't know where I had to be to kind of what's the word, like with the climate like constantly changing, and the cost of everything. I didn't know where I had to be, like in the middle of it. I didn't know any figures to start with. So my mentor helped me, you know, you have to, or it would be ideal if you were meeting this figure every day, and then that keeps you afloat every month, which keeps you afloat every year. And if there's profit in that, which you might not see for your first year, a lot of people will say you don't see profit in your first year, and that's fine. It will even out eventually, as long. And also something that has been freaking me out recently, you maybe all will agree, like the sales go up and then they go down. Like someday I'll be completely flat out, you can't breathe, and then the other day I'm like standing looking at my wee girl and I'm like, what's like, where is everybody? But it evens out. And I was speaking to like past employers as well really recently, and they say, look, that will never change. But so the GoFor It program helped me kind of settle my head on numbers and figures and accounts, things like that there, and create a plan, which Melanie, you said that will never stay the same. It constantly changes. You know, I thought whenever I built my kitchen that my kitchen would stay in the cafe. Now I have a bakery down the back in a wee store that's so tiny, like it can only really fit me, but it works. And it's something that I didn't think would happen. And the opportunities for where my premises where I'm at are going to keep growing and growing. Like, I'd love a pizza garden. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that would be so cool. So that I can add to my business plan, but bring it right back to the roots of, like, am I meeting this, like, what so?
So back to, are you talking about bringing it back to the figures again?
Yeah,
that always,
not figured.
yeah. So GoFor It helped you always bring it back to the core basics.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think as entrepreneurs and people who are listening, we're passionate about our hotel and our child play space and our beer products and our cafe, but we're not accountants.
No,
We don't know.
like it's like it's freaky. Yeah, and you sitting like looking at your numbers and stuff, and you're like, okay,
Don't even know what it means.
like, yeah,
I don't anyway.
no, and like things that your bills that are coming out and the money that's coming in, you think, okay, yeah, I'm doing well, and then something that you're like, oh right, okay, should probably cut back, or I'm doing well, I could probably reinvest, so like put the money back in, buy new equipment or whatever. But the business plan was a stability for me personally. It's there if I need it. If I need to go and take out a big loan for something, I can use that, hand it to them, and it makes me look so professional, like I've done this myself. But
Oh, it absolutely.
all you guys, I know me do all that there. So
Yeah.
it's great for starting out 100%.
Great. So anybody listening, the GoFor It program will help them with the business plan, the figures. What about you, John? What did this specifically help you with?
There's two things that really stood out for me. One was the HMRC and becoming self-employed, because I had always worked for a company or another business and had never ever done anything self-employed. So yes, I had like all the costings and business plan and help with market and all that stuff, but the one thing that really was getting me was I need to go self-employed, and I need to let the government and tax know that I'm not earning my money, I have to pay my own tax. I just didn't have a clue. After speaking with Peter, he was like, John, it's actually quite simple, this is what you do. And he showed me how to do it. I done it, got an accountant, and I was like, I was stressing out for nothing. Thought it was crazy. And then another one was with my products, I thought I had my costings down to a T, and he's like, okay, let's get at your figures and see exactly how much it is costing you. And whenever I had done it, and then after me and him done together, my markup was a hell of a lot more than what I thought it was. So, and I was getting more money per product than what I thought after speaking to him. So supporting that, even to relieve the stress that his was amazing.
Yeah, so the mental support as well, because once someone explains somebody, it takes that stress off. So put aside the numbers and the business plan. It's about
Just how you explain it. You went, this is what you do. This is how you do it.
Yeah, that's what we need.
That's it.
Yeah, because we know how to do our thing.
Yep.
We don't know how to do their thing. So again, GoFor It can help you get out of that kind of stressful place you're in of the not knowing. So that's so good to hear that. And what about you, Ryan? What did they help you specifically with?
Look, for me, it was about structure, support, strategy, and direction. So it's about, I'm a guy who always has lots of ideas. There's a hamster wheel inside my head and it doesn't stop spinning. And sometimes you just have to get it to slow down to understand. You have all these ideas. Which one should I bet on, or which one should I go for? And I always had kind of side hustles, but always had my anchor. And my anchor was a full-time employment, and that was what the other wee things didn't really matter if they failed or succeeded or whatever, but it's never going to get me to where I want to be in a bigger sense and stepping away from it. So I think for the GoFor It program, yep, got the business plan, looked at everything. I like that kind of stuff, so I kind of leaned into it a bit, but I wouldn't have been able to do it myself. I needed the affirmation from somebody else to say to me, this is a good idea, or this can work, or see it in paper. And then you can start to pick it apart and go, right, okay. And you're like, you've all said, it's a living document, so you have to treat it as such. Can't be something that sits on a shelf. But also, it kind of gives you the confidence then to kind of go, like, within 3 months, I was lucky enough to get a business mentor off the back of the signposting from the GoFor It program who worked with me for around 6 months. And after 3 months, we sat down and looked at him and we went, you can project all day long until you have real life data to go, well, this is what's happening. We looked at it after 3 months and I walked away from my job the next day. I says, nope. This is it. I'm being divided in my attention. This needs my attention, and it's good enough, and I have the confidence now that I can give it a crack. And listen, there's no guarantees there either. It could still fail at some point or whatever, but at the same time, it was kind of stepping away from that and into a world that I hadn't known. But having people there that are experts and knowing what they do, then you have that input. As I say, it comes back to kind of having that confidence, and you're taking a step that is going to be beneficial to you and your kind of trajectory of where you want to go. So, no, I think it's fundamentally important because, again, I go back to what I said earlier. You can't do everything on your own. You're not an island. You can't. If you think you are, you're going to trip up. So look around you. Look at people who know, been there before. They have the expert advice. Take it on board. However, I would say don't let it compromise your vision. Still keep your vision, but your vision is normally aligned to what the advice you get. Sometimes you have to check a little bit. And I think sometimes, I know my personal life as an individual, as an entrepreneur, my wife's usually the person who checks me, but you need check at times to go, that's just a wee bit, scale it back a bit.
Like the Christmas decorators?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But you get to be open to accept that. There's something they saying to that, because see if you don't have that mentality as well to go, I'm getting there no matter what.
Yeah.
There is not an option, so sometimes you have to temper that a little bit to understand, because you can go off in a direction but way down a road, and you can jeopardize a lot of stuff in your life and your family and your own personal, like mental health or physical health or whatever, by running all the time and doing long days and stuff to get there. But if for something you believe in, you're passionate about, and you're enjoying it, then sure, what's to lose?
I think a roadmap to success.
It is.
I know. And one thing that I've taken from you there about the GoFor It is the signposting. Like, yes, your support from them finished, but then they were able to signpost you on to someone who actually supported you for another 6 months.
So much.
So you might go to GoFor It and you might have your business plan and all sorted your figures, but it's who you know that you can signpost them on to that is invaluable, I think. Because it's all who you know sometimes, isn't it? Like the people that can help you, that can help them. So that's another added value for reaching out to GoFor It, because they know the people that will help you on your journey. Guys, we're going to talk about now opinions on entrepreneurship and NI. I mean, your opinion. I want to hear I know what my opinion is, but I want to hear from you guys first. Like, John, what do you think about like the current environment for startups and NI? Do you think this is a good place for startups? Do you think there's enough support? What is your thoughts on all of that?
Yes, I think firstly, I think the standard in Northern Ireland is very, 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 very high.
Yes, it's definitely.
For such a small sort of island and community, there is a lot of support, whether it be the GoFor program, your friends and family. But if you're going to start a business, I think you need to be all in,
wholeheartedly and be genuine and trying to achieve that standard, because you can't sort of kind of do it. You know, you can't 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think if you want to go for it, try and achieve the best level you can, because the standard in Northern Ireland at the minute is superbly high.
Yes. And do you think there's good support out there when you do, like, obviously we're talking about Go For It, but, you know, do you think the support is good for startups? Like, have you found it a supportive, like, community, network, business help, like, as well as what Go For It has? Like, is there other help out there that you've availed of, or?
But the Go For program is mainly my main source of help. I do business plan a lot, but friends and family are doing a big one for me.
Okay, good, yes.
Helping me connect with my sort of target audience and getting in line with like-minded people. I hit the Go For program. The guy Peter I was sort of working with was saying you should look for influencers or people who review in my industry beer products. I'm plastic. I never even thought of that. You know, so that support. If I sent them my products and they loved it, they were giving me 5-star feedback. 5-star feedback in turn, that's customer see. There must be stuff that right. So it does open doors, but the growth and entrepreneurship in Northern Ireland is.
It is, like, every day you're like, oh my God, that's an amazing business. That's an amazing, like, story growth. And because I do the podcast too, my eyes have been opened even more. And I do think that, like, there's been significant growth throughout, like, since the pandemic, and and in the scariest time ever in the economy and stuff, but people are still pushing forward. So it shows that fire in our bellies. Melanie, what additional support or resources do you think would be useful? Like, is there anything that you think, God, I wish they had that for entrepreneurs, or I wish they had that for business owners or for people with ideas? Is there anything that stands out to you that maybe was lacking for you, not with Go For It, but in general as a startup?
I think I did get the support that I needed. And I think, you know, if there's an area that you wanted, you know, find out about, if, you know, you sort of, you know, can usually avail it. I'm quite lucky because I'm also, you know, I'm, you know, tourism. So Tourism Ireland, Tourism Northern Ireland, and also the Hotel Federation are all good places for me as well. So I've been really, really lucky. Us, you know, Go For It, Belfast City Council, all of these people are around, you know, to help you. So if you're in a trade organisation as well, you know, you can probably avail of that. But very much it's sort of you holding your, sometimes I just think actually, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So actually sometimes you don't even know what you really need because you don't even know that it's a thing. You know, so maybe I didn't even know, I think at the start, all about I needed all this SEO training. So I just thought I'd put a website, and then I, whatever, and then I was like, oh, I have to go do that.
I know.
But I wouldn't even have known to go and look for that. So now, you know, then as you go along, then you find these things out, and then you can just go and avail of them, and you know, that like so, you know, your council will help you on to have the long programs and have mentors, different things like that. So it's yeah, I think, you know, when you're starting out, you just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think open and honest conversation like this will help people too, because this is like support for them. And me and you, Maya, talked before we came back on camera there, and you were like, what else is there available for, like, we just had this conversation without really realising we're moving on to this topic, for entrepreneurs and young startups. And I was signposting you to a few places. I think it's about finding your tribe and your community, and then figuring out where your people hang out, and then seeing what support's available within that. Kaelan, what do you think sets Northern Ireland apart as a location for starting and growing businesses? There's something here in us.
So people, in my opinion, like, you know, I've had a few clients recently from overseas that really catered here to NI and stuff. And it was interesting because a lot of them said, you know, I am so surprised by the amount of support that's here. And, you know, you take this for granted, you know, that you offer this support and stuff. And I was like, this is just my job, this is what I do. And they're like, you know, you like, and people from America, different countries, they don't do this over there. Like, they don't do this one-to-one support in this level. And I was quite shocked.
Yeah.
So, and when we look at it, like, you know, as Melanie says, you go looking for the support, and you've alluded to it too as well, around that, and you're open to taking it in. There's a lot of, you know, and that open-mindedness, as you all kind of mentioned today, is that there is support out there. And, you know, if you're in this, I personally, I think Northern Ireland is a really good entrepreneurship ecosystem that they're, you know, for students, even at universities, they have a lot. There's higher education that have business support teams. There's, there's a prolific, the councils have, there's just so many organizations that have an entrepreneurship element, and regardless of what stage of life or journey or where you're at. But again, it's all about reaching out and getting that. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, and I think the nature of us from here is, well, I know anybody that I've met, most people, you will meet some people that perhaps are a little off on giving their advice, but most people like to give that free advice to raise people up. Anyone that I've met on my journey, like, here, did you know about this? Let me tell you about this. And actually, sometimes there are the things that can just change things for you. Or have you ever met this person, or introducing you to somebody? And that's just our way.
I do that. I do a lot. I say, if I see somebody coming in and they say about an idea, and I think automatically of a client that I've dealt with in the last year or 2 years that did something similar, I just mentally note it. And then I reach out to that client and I say, you wouldn't mind having a wee chat with this person? They're thinking about starting up something similar. It's slightly different, but it's along the same sort of lines. They go, 100% of the time that I've asked, not one of them said no. They've all said, absolutely, send them out here, send them here. We'll have a conversation, no problem. I think that's the best sort of way to talk to people, is that to walk. I could talk to the cows come home about how to start a business and run a business, but if I haven't run your business, I'm always trying to find somebody who has been in that sector, who knows more about it than me. I'm always trying to find somebody who's more knowledgeable. And you as an entrepreneur should find that as well. You should always be trying to find somebody who's smarter, knows more about it, that sector that you're in, and taking their advice. A business mentor is good for getting started in that entrepreneurial journey. But also having a mentor within a sector is also a good thing as well.
No, and actually Melanie and Ryan and John and Maya, you are now all mentors to people who actually haven't even taken that leap yet. So there will be people reaching out to you after the podcast and going, I've been made redundant, or, I'm going to leave a job, or, I haven't followed my passion, and, I'm too young. I think I'm too young, or people are telling me not to do the interior design in my new place. But you will be mentoring people now. So that's the entrepreneurial spirit that's here and why we're all doing what we do. So I just think that's great. But Ryan, do you think there's a fear? Well, we know there is a fear factor amongst some people, I think in every country, but in Northern Ireland, when it comes to starting their own business. Like, yes, there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, but I know when we talk about family and friends' opinions, there can be the fear factor for people. And how do we address that to encourage more entrepreneurs? And we have talked about it in a bit, but what would you say to people who have the fear factor? And this is kind of all bringing it sort of to a close and make people hit them again with it, who are afraid and are maybe listening to those opinions. What would you say?
Feel the fear and do it anyway. What have you got to lose? I think, to be honest with you, you'll be really well surprised at about how much support there is there. People are for you. They want you to succeed. Some people won't. You'll have competition.
Yes.
You can view competition in a fearful way to go, oh, they're my competition. I'm not be fit to be better than them or be as good as I need to be. Use the competition. If you don't have competition, you will never improve. You will never better yourself. Reach the vision of what you want to be, but use the support that's there to allow you. So the people that are there, they do know a lot more than you do, certainly at that point, and that's that self-recognition of, I don't know it all. Because if you know it all, then that's not really a reality. There's something you can learn every single day about your business and about your sector and about what you want to do. So I think, fear's intrinsic. It's built in this. You can't get rid of it. You gotta utilize. You gotta understand how to utilize it. When we talk about nerves, anxiety, and that kind of thing that can be overwhelming, that's your body's natural way of your mind's telling your body to get ready to prepare for something. Use that energy to put it into your passion, and you will go very, very far with it. So, don't be afraid of fear.
Don't be afraid of fear if you're listening. I think even though as a nation and a country we're very encouraging and want to see people do well, we're also afraid of the unknown and the you need to stick to your good pension and be safe as well. There's that element. So we want to move forward, but we want to be safe. So I think things are changing, because definitely the growth since the pandemic has shown that in the entrepreneurial spirit. Let's hope it keeps rising. Maria, Maya, just to finish off, any tips for people that are listening right now and they're going to come off this or listen after the podcast and say, do you know what, I think I'm going to go for it. So closing kind of thoughts from everyone. Maya, there's going to be people listening and they're going to have that fire ignited now after hearing all of you guys talk. What would you say to them if they're about to take the step and they're just not moving forward? Any tips for just taking that next leap?
Just like trust yourself. Just if you have an idea and in your gut and you can really feel it. Like whenever I had my idea, I was like, I really need to do this. Like this is for me. This is what I was born for. This is what is my career path. I'm going to go for it. Like just trust yourself. And it might not go 100%. It might not be smooth. You know what? Like none of ours went smooth, I can guarantee. But you need to trust yourself and just kind of be like, I can go and do this. And it's not always going to be rainbows. Like, but you will use those like hard times to G you on and listen to, we were talking earlier about like the people around us and stuff, like hearing all your like stories. It's like I can feel the energy in the room. It's unreal. But like listening to people that have done it before, that's so encouraging. Like listen to them and take their advice too. But that's a tip I would say, is listen to people that have done it before. Take their advice. My mum would always goes on about be a wee sponge. Like if I'm sitting in this room and I feel like such a wee sponge because I'm listening to everything they're saying, and it helps when you're young. But like you can absorb things when you're older too. Like like Melanie said, it does not matter about your age. Yeah. I'm so blessed that I was presented with the opportunities I have young, so I can now in my years build on what I have. But you can do that at any point. There's no stopping you. So
you speak with so much wisdom for someone. Like, so what age are you?
22.
22, and I know you're not supposed to say that anymore because like age, you're not allowed to ask people their age. But I mean, at 22, I didn't even know who I was or what I was. So I'm inspired by your wisdom and your courage at those young years.
That's something I feel like I can't even take credit for. I feel like that's the people that are around me, my community, you know, like my past employers. They sat in my cafe the other day and had a coffee with me. Like that melts me. I think it's beautiful. And it's all about community. You cannot build a business yourself. You know, like you need, like, yes, the Ticket Bakehouse is my business. I'm the face, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's my grandma that helped me out washing dishes at the very beginning. Like my landlord was there every day, flat out, making sure I had everything I need. My joiner, I'm now best friends with. It's these people and people that, I'm 22, like one of my best friends is my joiner who's like in his early 40s, I want to say. Sorry, Nina, if I got that wrong. But it's community. Yeah. Like I will hands down say everything to do with, well, personally my business, but I think with a lot of people it's community. Use the people around you and be a wee sponge and just soak up everything, and the right bits will stick with you. Like they will say a lot of stuff that can fly past you, and I'm a wee bit blonde and a lot flies past me, but there's some bits that stick with you. You're like, oh my God, like Emma said that's really stuck with me. Yeah, just be a sponge. That's my tip.
Be a sponge, be a sponge. And just to recap for people who have, you know, forgotten from the very start, your business is, again, tell us.
The Ticket Bakehouse, and also in bakery.
And you can find it on social media.
Yeah.
At
the Ticket Bakehouse.
The Ticket Bakehouse. Okay, everybody's a way to find out. Now, John, what is your closing remarks for people who are listening that are got the wee fire is lit and they're thinking, come on, tip them over the edge here, so they're ringing Kaelin tomorrow and go for it. And what would you say to them?
I just keep it short and sweet.
Yes.
The bill for regret is bigger than the bill for failure, so just go for it.
Love that. So say it again.
The bill for regret is bigger than the bill for failure, so just go for it.
I love that, John. Right, let everybody know now again, recap, what is your business and where can people follow your journey now?
My business is Big Fat Beard and Barbershop. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok.
And it's Phat Beard.
Phat.
Yes, I love that, just like the play on the words. So everyone there that doesn't have a beard is going to start growing one. So that they, not me, not me, that's the man, are going to start and look at your business journey for sure. Ryan, talk to us. What are you going to say to encourage those budding entrepreneurs that are listening to go for it?
Get up, get after it, and stop hanging about, because time slips away very quick. I'm 41. I have a daughter nearly the same age as you, by the way. But I waited till later in my life. Thankfully, I've still got plenty of years left to do this. But the sooner you start, the easier it will be to some extent, because you have a bit of longevity. But at the same time, you know, it doesn't really matter what age you are. You need to be brave enough to take the step. You are brave. It's in you. Find it, use it, and step forward with your passion.
I'm like, what else can I do? I'm like, I want to go to I hear him. Sure, it's going to put me out of the house tonight if I can move any more ideas. But I think that definitely will inspire people. Now tell us I was actually, just to say, I was away with a few girls from up your neck of the woods, Oma direction, and they said, I need to get home tomorrow because her wee girl was going to Duff Land. And then it like cut my head. I was like, I'm going to be speaking to Ryan. So tell us about your, again, what the business is and how people can follow the journey.
Yeah, so it's an indoor soft play area with a cafe, and we call it an entertainment centre of excellence. We offer a lot of different activities within the centre for children, and you can find us online. We're on Facebook, Duff Land, and we're on all the socials as well, so just get us on there.
And that's DUFF Land, Duff Land.
Indeed.
You're Ryan Duffy, all right.
Well, my nickname's Duff. It stands, it's an acronym, it stands for Dream Up Fantastic Fun. Yeah, so very quickly whenever we set up, my wife was all, what are you going to call it? Like Duff Park or something. I was all Duff Land. She's all, oh, you went straight to Disneyland, yeah? I was like, why not?
For the go for the top. Good man. Okay, so everybody's definitely going to be either taking their kids there or following it on social media to see all the things that you have projected for the future. And I'm sure they're definitely going to come true. Melanie, tell us what you would say to anybody listening. And let's look at it from what you said at the start about the age thing. You're, like you said, that you're in your 50s and you know, would have probably have thought, I can't do this, or people would have said to you, you can't do it. What would you say to the person that has perhaps got to that stage and they're thinking, no, it's past me now?
Well, you're looking at it from the other side of things, because you've got so many life experiences, and you've got so many different things that you've done. Actually,
you're going to be amazing at it.
Well, you can try, and actually, you've made a lot of mistakes. You've been on all these different paths. So actually, you know, there's never. It's never really right time to do anything. If you wait for the perfect time, so it's never going to really happen, because there's always been something in the way. You're like, I'm going on holidays, or I'm having another child, or I'm going to get a promotion at work, or all these things, all these different excuses. Maybe it's just not the right time. But just go and even talk about it today, and, you know, you will find, you know, if not the ideal time, but, you know, find out about it. And
you're going to have an influx of the 50 somethings coming to you saying, help me, Melanie, make that leap. And I definitely think you'll be the person when we sit here in this fabulous place to help them do that. Now tell us about the Harrison. How do people find it now, and on social media, first of all, so they can check it all out?
Yeah, well, you can find about us on Instagram, on Facebook. We've got a web page, and we're actually on many of the travel guides, Good Places to Stay, Alistair Staudi's guide, Frommer's, all of that. We've been in a lot of magazines this year as well, Condé Nast, National Geographic, Sunday Times.
Okay, we need to do another podcast about how you got on it, because I want to know how you got on all of those, because that's a whole other conversation, isn't it, about PR and marketing and that. That I love. So I think it's at, because I was tagging you before we came in, at the Harrison Belfast is where people can come to view this amazing space that you've created. And fair play to you, it's unreal. Kaelin just didn't want to finish with, because you're very much part of this. What would your, apart from the GoFor It, what would you say to the people that are listening that haven't just took the leap yet?
There's a lot of things, you know, Melanie said that they're never the right time. I give you an example. I had a client last year who kept saying the cost of things kept going up. I'm going to hold off until they come down. Long story short, he went for it, and a year later he said to me, I wish I went a lot on sooner. I don't care about the cost anymore. And that's often what it is. You know, you zone in on the reason why you shouldn't do it, but you don't zone on the big reasons why you should do it. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's probably the big takeaway. You know, there's nobody that I speak to that isn't comfortable with what they're doing. They all feel a bit uncomfortable, but they're all excited. Every one of them has a passion. Every one of them has a vision. Every one of them, there's some inner burning desire about why they should do it. And find what that is for you. Find your why you want to do it. You know, everybody has a story, and yours is individual. You know, everybody around this table today has had a reason why they've started a business, and you just need to hold on to what your reason is.
So I want to thank you all for coming here today, for sharing your stories. This is what's needed, open and honest conversation, like you talked about, the good times, the bad times, and I think that that's what's needed more of, conversations like this, where when people listen then they're like, God, they went through hard times, but look at them now. And, you know, I think that if more people did this, then the entrepreneurial growth in Northern Ireland would be even more. So thank you for being the people that have, I'm not saying we're started the conversation, but we're keeping it going. So if you are listening and you've been been inspired by today's conversations, by the knowledge that everyone has shared, and you want to go for it, then you need to reach out to the Go For It team. And there's a few ways to doing that. You can click the link that I have put underneath all of these videos. You can call them, and the number is 0800 027 0639. You can visit their website, goforitni.com, and just let today be your inspiration to do that. And good luck on your business journey. I told you would love it. So honestly, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, what have I got to lose? Then maybe just log on to their website or give them a call. Also, if you love listening to the Digg podcast, you can tell I absolutely love doing it, then please just take a second to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, to follow on Apple and Spotify, and then that helps the podcast grow, and in turn helps me secure those great guests that inspire you on your entrepreneurial journey. And until next week, keep taking those steps forward in life and in business.